198.
Okay, I'm not going to question you. I'm going to say number 2 on page 198, because you add 2 to 198, you get 200.
Wow, okay. Albanian has 27 words for different kinds of moustaches and 30 for eyebrows. That's very specific.
They're very suave people, I guess.
Well groomed.
I would think so. That's even more than like Italians and Spaniards.
Yeah.
You know? Even Frenchies don't have that many.
That's a lot.
Hey, it's what people like to do with their time. People like to go to their barbers, I know I do. Hey, NarendraTheComic!
Nonsense!
Yes, and right now we're going to be doing an Avatar 2 movie review. Now, if you know what that is, then you're a real 9-year-old, or at least a 17-year-old or 19-year-old at this point. But, you know, it's what it is. Old school meme from back in the day. I say back in the day because now it's literally 3 or 4 years ago. And we are now aged, and you can see it on my forehead with the lines, you know?
Oh, one thing that did make me feel aged was in this cinema, there were some kids, clearly around 11 or 12, weren't born when the first one came out.
But then I said to you when we started watching it, you were half the age you were now, or less than, when you saw the first one.
That's really odd.
It's just reality, man. Reality is bonkers. But this film was also absolutely insane. Crazy, crazy shit. I think to start off with, we have to say the visuals overall were spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
There was an issue, though, because some of the shots were not so good. Oftentimes, in the nighttime scenes, it looked like video game graphics.
Yeah.
Good video games, good ones, but still video games.
I think it's a thing. Video game graphics have gotten really, really good.
Yeah.
So the night shots did kind of feel very clunky, even with the sort of bioluminescence they were using across the different flora and fauna. But the day shots, these blues, I felt like I was on Pandora.
Especially in the ocean scenes and on the islands. I think that the forest scenes generally looked a little aged. I don't think the CGI was that great when they were in the forest.
Yeah.
But as soon as the movie transitioned to the sea, it was unbelievable. It put Aquaman, Black Panther 2 to shame.
Yeah, honestly.
And I didn't think Aquaman would be improved upon, but it was nothing compared to the water scenes in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything surrounding the water, and especially the water people, I think they were called the Metcaina.
I think you're right.
The actual colouring of them, the way that they blended with the water, almost like a evolutionary difference.
That's the thing.
It looked so good. And one thing I noticed was they actually had a third eyelid.
Yes, to cover their eyes when they were in the water.
Which is such a small detail. I only saw it in one shot properly when one of the, I think it was like the princess of the clan was coming out of the water. And her eyelids peeled back and I thought, wow, the level of detail for you to think about that.
But that's the thought that goes into these movies. When you think about the first one, the amount of evolutionary research that James Cameron and his team did for the animals, let alone the Na'vi, but for the animals and creatures inhabiting the forest was insane. He spent years creating Ikri, getting the face right, getting the shape right, getting the teeth right, all of it.
It paid off.
It did.
Because it really made us feel like we were there. When we came out, I felt like I could hear the ocean moving in my ears.
The family stuff was heavy. My heart was kind of pulling at times, but I'm not a little bitch, so I wasn't crying. But someone was crying. And someone was saying, oh, my eyes are just a bit watery.
You know what?
They're a bit
Let's
watery.
not pretend. My eyes were watering from the beginning. There was nothing to cry over in the beginning. It was just happening throughout, and then I actually cried towards the end.
I get it. It's a very, very relatable story for basically anyone. And I think the drop-off, we talked about it. You said 50%. I said 35. I saw in the comments some people saying that maybe it's going to be 25. That would be madness to get to that level, but it's possible. Either way, any of those numbers are good numbers. The hold at that level is amazing. So I'm saying it ain't going to make 3 billion. You're still saying it's going to make 3 billion. But I'm thinking my 1.7 might be a little low. 1.75? I think maybe it might be inching closer to 2. I think that's what I'm saying it is. But I can't change it. I said 1.75. You said 3. You said over 3, actually, but we're going to say 3. But Jim Cameron, very, very well done. I mean, you took something that no one thought could be done again, and you made it better, because the story was significantly improved. Even though the plot was kind of falling over itself at times, and not really giving itself time to breathe, I think at other times, it was very well fleshed out, and they gave the audience the understanding they needed to get through the exposition. but other times it was too much.
One thing we didn't mention in our car park review was the whales.
Yes.
I really like the additions of these whales and the fact that these are sentient beings, highly intelligent, that had connections to the Na'vi, to the Metkayina. I think there's something really special about that sort of spiritual connection.
To go back to the point about the space whales, they were the best part of the movie. Beyond doubt, the visuals were great, but the space whales took the cake. That is just how it was, because the moment you saw them, you knew, hey, I'm seeing some fishing shenanigans going on here, and I didn't want it. Overfishing is a problem to a degree, but when you saw them and you actually understood them and they could speak and talk and communicate, it was, oh, this is not a good thing. But they did do a good thing by moving away from unobtainium, right?
Oh.
They decided to go with this whale gunk in their heads, which somehow keeps humans from aging, stops them aging, which is a tried trope in sci-fi movies.
But I can appreciate that. They needed to move away from the unobtainium. What a name. I'm glad we've just forgotten about that. And the idea that the real reason humans coming to this place is just for that thing. And there's no reason to kind of mess with any of the Na'vi.
None of it. Now we're going to get onto the things that we didn't love that much. Number one, Stephen Lang coming back. I thought that was a very, very weird plot point. It made sense. They explained it enough, so I was okay with it, but I didn't love it. Something else that wasn't good. Sigourney Weaver.
Kiri.
We said it in our review partially. She was really, really bad in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, something was off. I don't know if it was her persona and the way she carries herself just doesn't really fit with a kid, a teenager. It felt like she was being forced in that role. And I didn't like it. Everyone else, good. All the other kids, they may have been annoying sometimes, but overall, decent. They're kids after all.
I think, upon a bit of reflection, there's a reason why Kiri was written like that.
No. You're missing my point. I'm not saying she was written badly. I'm saying she was performed badly. I'm not talking about the writing of her character. I'm not talking about the way she looked. I'm talking about the way Sigourney Weaver put the character forward. I'm not saying that she was poorly written or that James Cameron didn't do a good job defining that character. I'm saying it didn't work. I'm sorry, I just don't think it did.
I did have a disconnect, but I thought it was because the character just felt kind of too old for her years. She didn't fit in with the other kids.
That makes
sense.
sense.
But then with the context surrounding her character and spoiler, kind of being like a prophet.
Kind of. Or maybe God.
Or God, or maybe
Or a physicalization of the planet. I don't know.
Something like that. It makes sense that she doesn't really fit in with the other kids. And
yeah, but
she's
fit in, outcast was the entire story for the first movie. And it was in this one to a big degree as well, just on a slightly grander scale. But you can't just say, oh, she's an outcast, so she's a bit weird. It's like, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense, and I don't like it.
They're going to have to move away for the third film.
They might explain away some of the plot holes in the third one, or the fourth one, or the fifth one, because there are 5 apparently. This movie was over 3 hours long. Some of the runtime was good, some of the runtime was bad, the pacing was all over the place. And because of that, I'm not sure we can actually do a concise 10 to 12 minute review of this movie. So, some people might say we haven't really analysed this enough, but that's because we have 50 minutes of footage time, and that's the maximum, because otherwise we will talk for 50 minutes, and then it's a nightmare to edit.
In fact, we could probably have a podcast.
Multiple episodes just on this movie. But overall, there was good, there was bad, there was happy, and there was a lot sad. And characters dying who maybe didn't need to die, but when you saw it and you said, they're probably gonna die, they ended up dying.
Yeah.
Because the one who was Jake Sully Jr. basically was the one who was gonna be dead.
And then he
died. Yeah.
Yeah. But that means that the younger son will step up.
Yeah.
And the little kid will see them grow up. I think in the next few films, we're going to see some more age jumps and time jumps.
Yeah.
We're going to see the kids grow up and maybe have their own kids.
It's possible by the time the 4th or 5th one comes out. And then there was the human character who was part of the Na'vi tribe, basically. Spider. He was well performed. I think he was a bit too attitudey at times. It was being used like that to try and bat away from the character a little bit. But it was pretty bait who the character was. The son is Stephen Lang's character.
Yeah.
From the start, it wasn't even a question. And then it was the idea of, what's going to happen with him in the overall story? Is he going to protect his dad? Is he not? What ends up happening is what ends up happening. But I think there's a big thing about Stephen Lang's character. Is he going to switch sides by the 3rd or 4th movie? Is he going to sacrifice himself for the Na'vi now that he is a Na'vi? Big question. Moral questions. Dilemmas. This is what we like. Conflict is good in story.
Right at the end, when the Weeknd's music started playing, I thought, no, you didn't need to do this. You could have just taken the soundtrack from the film, done a little bit of a remix, and played that instead, because during the movie, I almost didn't notice the music in that it was so perfect. It was an experience. I will not forget the feeling of being sat there and watching this. I think I will want to rewatch.
It's a visual experience. You're gonna enjoy a lot of aspects of it, and you might question others, and that's what this film is all about. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, Jake Sully gonna come after you. You don't want that? No, do they want that?
No.
You really don't, so just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic.
I've been Nonsense.
She's been Nonsense. You've been Graham. We'll see you next time. That's tomorrow. If you don't know, make a video every single day. Been doing it every day for over 1,500 days now. We ain't stopping until we get 10,000 subscribers. So do subscribe. Pop back again tomorrow for some more quality shitty content. So hashtag never not here. Just how it goes. Also bring the podcast means nonsense in Punjabi. We also bring a lot, do a little, but we do indeed bring the quality shitty content on a daily basis. So see you tomorrow. More of the same, slightly different, but essentially the very same. Once more, see you then. Skadoosh.
I got you! I got you! Take that, you friggin' psycho! I got you!